Hello, turning 70 is a significant milestone that I never anticipated would come so quickly. One minute, you're in your 20s, full of ambitions and energy, and the next, you're waking up in a body that feels different every day, with memories spanning decades. Life changes. Priorities fluctuate, and as I've gotten older, I've realized something unusual about myself. I've begun to shun people. This was not always the case. I used to be a very social person, usually surrounded by friends and family, attending events, volunteering in the community, and being someone everyone could count on. Something changed along the road, however. At first, I assumed it was only me. Now, it could be more common than I thought. Allow me to explain why. One moment feels more valuable than ever. At 70, I am thinking about time in ways I never have before. It's more than just the ticking of the clock or the changing of the calendar. It's the unmistakable sense that time is limited. When I was younger, time seemed boundless, like a river moving toward an unknown horizon. I squandered it, convinced that there would always be more. Hours spent on meaningless discussion, relationships that fizzled, and occupations that provided no joy or significance. They felt insignificant back then, but today, every moment feels like a gift, and I don't want to waste it. Time is no longer just a measurement. It is a companion, sometimes kind, sometimes harsh, who constantly reminds me to appreciate what I have left. In the calm mornings, I sip my coffee and watch the sunrise, enjoying the warmth of the cup in my hands. In the afternoons, I go for lengthy walks, hearing the crunch of leaves underfoot and happy for the power I still have in my legs. It's nighttime, and I'm sitting in my favorite chair, thinking about a life well lived. I used to devote my time to people and activities, believing that the more I did, the fuller my life would feel. But I've discovered that the contrary is true. It doesn't matter how much you do or how many people you hang out with. It is all about the quality of the experiences and relationships. Now, I make cautious choices about where and with whom I spend my time. I'd rather have a quiet talk with someone who truly understands me than attending a huge party where I feel lost in a sea of people. The truth is that I've grown so protective of my time because I've learned how valuable it is. When you're young, you believe there is always tomorrow to correct a mistake, reestablish a friendship, or pursue a passion. However, as you age, you realize that there are fewer tomorrows than you'd want to accept. This does not make me sad, rather it makes me intentional. I don't waste time on needless drama, shallow talks, or duties that don't reflect my ideals. Instead, I devote my time to what is genuinely important, my health, my passions, and the people who bring joy into my life. This transformation brings a tremendous sense of tranquility. I no longer feel terrible about saying no to things that don't benefit me, and I no longer feel compelled to justify my preference for solitude over mingling. It's not that I don't love connections. In fact, I value them more than ever, but my priorities have shifted. I want my relationships to be honest, my talks to be meaningful, and my days to be full rather than merely busy. At this point in life, time is also about letting go of regrets about missed opportunities, letting go of grudges that once felt vital, and letting go of the impulse to do everything. I've learned that it's okay to slow down and just be. There is no urgency anymore, no dash to the finish line. The best moments aren't found in grand accomplishments, but in modest, simple joys like a favorite song, a nice wind, or a genuine chuckle. So, while time feels more valuable than ever, it also feels richer. I stopped chasing it and began savoring it. And in doing so, I discovered a level of contentment that I had never known was possible. At 70, I don't want to waste a single moment, not because I'm frightened of running out, but because I've realized what a precious gift life is. Two relationships evolve, as do we. Relationships evolve in unexpected ways throughout time. Some grow stronger through shared memories and mutual understanding, while others fade gently, like a book you put down and never pick up again. At 70, I've accepted that not all relationships are designed to last forever, and that's fine. What I've discovered is that the people who remain in your life at this stage are frequently the ones who genuinely matter. When I was younger, connections were everything. I surrounded myself with friends, colleagues, neighbors, and acquaintances, always striving to stay connected and be a part of something bigger. I was the one who remembered everyone's birthdays, showed up to every function, and tried to make everyone happy. But over time, I understood how much effort it required to maintain relationships that did not always nurture me in return. Life has a natural way of pruning the branches of your social tree. People move away, become busier, or change in ways that make it difficult to stay connected. Some relationships end in heartbreak, while others quietly pass with time. I used to take these losses personally, wondering what I could have done better to hang on. I now understand that life's journey takes us all in different directions. People enter your life for a cause, a season, or a lifetime, and knowing which is which has given me a sense of calm. But not only do people change, we do as well. I'm not the same person I was at 40, let alone 60. My priorities have evolved. I value simplicity, kindness, and genuineness more than ever. I don't have patience for drama or one-sided relationships. I used to believe that being there for everyone made me a good friend or family member, but I've understood that genuine connections are reciprocal. They don't deplete you, they replenish you. Some of the most significant lessons I've learned about relationships have come from heartbreak, trust shattered by people I care about, loyalty not returned, or kindness taken for granted. All of these experiences left scars, but they also taught me how to set boundaries, notice warning signs, and, most importantly, respect my well-being. Now I devote my time and energy to those who boost me up, not those who bring me down. Despite these lessons, I occasionally get a sense of regret for ties that have faded, a friend who was once like a sibling but with whom I haven't spoken in years, a family member whose life has taken a different turn. It's bittersweet to reflect on such connections, but I've learned to value them for what they were. Beautiful moments in time that helped form me into the person I am today. Trust becomes increasingly complicated as you get older. The more you understand how fragile trust can be. In my youth, I trusted easily, believing in the goodwill of others and their intentions. But as life progressed, I experienced betrayal in ways that made me more cautious. Once lost, trust is difficult to restore, and at 70, I am far more discriminating about who I accept into my inner circle. I'm not resentful or furious, but experience has taught me to be cautious. Over the years, I've been let down by people I never expected to hurt me. A friend who was more interested in what I could do for them than in who I was. A business partner who prioritized their gain over our shared vision, and even family members who, for reasons I'll never fully understand, distanced themselves in ways that made me wonder what went wrong. These experiences forced me to choose between closing myself off completely and approaching new relationships with a mix of openness and caution. I selected the latter. But caution comes at a cost. When someone new enters my life, my initial reaction is not joy or interest, it is mistrust. I find myself asking, what do they want? What's their motivation? It's not an attitude I prefer, but it was formed out of necessity. However, I've discovered that trust isn't just about people, it's also about trusting oneself. Trusting your instincts when something doesn't feel right, trusting your ability to walk away from toxic people no matter how long they've been in your life. And believing that it's appropriate to guard your heart, even if it means staying away. Still, trust is a complex concept. In recent years, I've encountered people who have renewed my faith in humanity, even if only slightly. A friendly stranger who assisted me when I dropped something at the supermarket, and a neighbor who checks in during terrible weather. These experiences remind me that while trust may be more difficult to grant now, it is not unattainable at this point in life. I've accepted that trust is always a precarious balance. It is not about erecting walls so high that no one can scale them. Rather, it is about making gates that are strong enough to keep out damage while remaining open enough to allow in love, kindness, and connection when it seems appropriate. Finally, the intricacy of relationships and trust has decreased. I cherish the few people I completely trust and maintain strict boundaries with those who have not earned it. And, while I may never be as trusting as I once was, I've grown to appreciate the relationships I do have even more. At 70, that feels like a valuable gift. The world feels different now. At 70, the world feels very different from the one I grew up in. Not only has the pace of life changed, but so has how we communicate with one another. I occasionally look around and wonder where the warmth and simplicity of human connection have gone. I grew up in a time when neighbors were considered extended family. We knew one another's names, stopped by unexpectedly to have a cup of coffee, and assisted before anyone had to ask. Families united on a regular basis, motivated by true love and joy rather than obligation. These relationships were easy to maintain, with a sense of belonging that did not demand regular effort. However, it appears that everyone is currently preoccupied with pursuing something: success, notoriety, or simply keeping up with the demands of modern life. People no longer visit one another as frequently as they once did. Conversations have become hurried, as if everyone is racing against an invisible clock. Even within families, connections might feel strained due to physical and mental distance. Technology, with all its comforts, has contributed to this transformation. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the chance to video call my grandchildren and stay in touch with old pals via social media. However, I can't help but feel that these screens have constructed barriers between us. There's nothing like sitting across from someone, hearing the intricacies in their voice, and experiencing the warmth of their presence. The steady stream of notifications, news updates, and unending scrolling can be daunting. The world seemed to have become both noisier and lonelier. There are times when I want to disconnect from everything, turn off the phone, and be alone with my thoughts. Then there's the issue of values. The world I see now is frequently incomprehensible, with priorities that appear so far distant from what I was taught to value: honesty, kindness, and community. Those principles have not vanished totally, but they are more difficult to discern amid the noise of self-promotion and endless rivalry. I frequently yearn for the simplicity of the past, not because I'm opposed to change, but because I miss the depth of genuine human connection. Back then, relationships felt more solid and less transactional. People were not constantly distracted, and there was an implicit agreement that time spent together was valuable. However, I know that nostalgia may occasionally paint the past in gentler tones than it deserves. Life has never been flawless, and each period presents its own set of obstacles. But as the world progresses, I find myself retreating, not out of bitterness, but out of a wish to cling to what remains genuine and significant to me. Solitude isn't loneliness. In my younger years, I used to associate being alone with loneliness. The idea of spending the evening alone sounded unpleasant, as if solitude was something to be avoided at all costs. But I've realized that solitude isn't something to fear, it's something to treasure. There is a significant distinction between being alone and lonely. Loneliness is an emptiness, a want for connection that seems out of grasp. Solitude, on the other hand, is fullness, quiet happiness in one's own company. At the age of 70, I've discovered that simply being motionless, allowing the world to drift into the background as I focus on the here and now, brings me the most joy. In solitude, I found the delight of simple pleasures. Sitting by the window with a cup of tea, watching the birds flutter over the feeder, feeling the sun's warmth on my face during a morning walk, and hearing the crackle of a fire on a cold evening. These brief moments provide me with a sense of calm that no busy space or bustling event ever could. Solitude has also given me space to reflect. At this point in life, memories serve as both a source of comfort and a teacher. I find myself revisiting former moments, not with regret, but with gratitude for the events that have shaped me. In the quiet of my thoughts, I've been able to reconcile with the things I used to struggle to grasp. This does not imply that I have fully walled myself off from the world. I still enjoy watching my grandchildren's cheeks light up when they visit, keeping up with old friends, and participating in causes that are important to me. However, those ties feel more significant now that they are voluntary rather than obligatory. I no longer feel the need to accept every offer or stay in relationships that drain me. Solitude has also allowed me to appreciate the relationships that remain. When I spend time with others, I am totally present and enjoy the times we share. There's no urgency or distractions, just the delight of being together, however briefly. Solitude teaches you to love yourself in ways that no amount of external validation ever can. It demonstrates that your worth is unrelated to the number of people around you or how full your social calendar is. It's in the quiet moments when you realize you're enough exactly as you are. At 70, I've realized that solitude isn't a sign of loneliness, it's a sign of strength. It is a choice to turn away from the noise, protect your serenity, and concentrate on what is genuinely important. And in making that decision, I discovered a more profound satisfaction than I had ever dreamed. Why do I avoid people now? At this point in my life, avoiding people is not about anger or animosity. It is about tranquility. After 7 decades of giving, learning, and occasionally hurting, I've realized that not every relationship is meant to survive, and not every bond is worth the effort to sustain. It's a lesson that is both liberating and bittersweet, one that I've accepted not out of sadness, but out of need. For the majority of my life, I was the type of person who put others first. I generously contributed my time, energy, and love, often without asking much in return. I wanted to be loved, helpful, and someone others could count on. And for a long time that seemed right. I thrived on being needed, on showing up for others, and on being a dependable presence. But life has a way of teaching you where your boundaries should be, even if it takes decades to grasp the lesson. I've been disappointed by those I trusted, injured by those I loved, and exhausted by relationships that demanded far more than they delivered. Sometimes I ignored the red signals because I desperately wanted to see the good in people. There were times when I stayed in situations that sapped my enjoyment because I believed that was what loyalty meant. At 70, I can see things more clearly. Avoiding others does not imply that I have abandoned humanity. Rather, it demonstrates that I have learned to defend my safety. I no longer feel compelled to maintain harmful relationships or partake in situations that leave me feeling empty. I've given up the noise of social commitments for the calm of purposeful solitude, and I've never felt more at ease. I avoid folks who bring drama into both their and my lives. I avoid people who make everything about themselves, who never ask how I'm doing, and who don't seem to care if I respond. I avoid folks who take my kindness for granted, believing it is limitless. Most essential, I avoid situations that make me feel less than my true self. This is not to imply that I have fully shut myself off. I still value the relationships that last, friends and family that turn up, not because they need something, but because they care. Those connections are sacred to me, and I nurture them with all of my remaining affection. But I no longer feel compelled to cast a wide net. A narrower, deeper circle is more than sufficient. In some ways, avoiding people has taught me to value them more. When I do spend time with others, it is because I genuinely want to, not because I feel obligated. The talks are better and the experiences are more memorable since they are chosen rather than forced. Does this sound familiar? I often wonder if others my age feel the same way. Is it just me, or does time make you more selective? Do life's disappointments and betrayals cause all of us to guard our hearts more closely, putting our peace first and foremost? When I reflect on my youth, I realize that I spent a lot of time attempting to meet the expectations of others. I wished to be everything to everyone: a wonderful friend, a dependable spouse, and a devoted family member. But as the years passed, I realized how exhausting this was and how little of myself I had left. By the end of it, I'd stopped apologizing for conserving my time and energy. I've stopped feeling bad about preferring solitude to socializing, and I've stopped worrying whether I'm wrong for requiring space to breathe, ponder, and be. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you may have made similar decisions. You may have begun to distance yourself from relationships that no longer serve you or situations that leave you feeling depleted rather than satisfied. You may have observed that you prioritize quality over number when it comes to the individuals in your life. This is not an easy transition. Sometimes it feels like you're letting go of bits of yourself. However, this period of life is about shedding what no longer fits. It is about making room for peace, joy, and the genuinely important things. If this resonates with you, please know you are not alone. There is no rule book for navigating this stage of life. There is no one-size-fits-all method. Some people flourish in large social circles well into their senior years, which is fantastic for them. But if you're like me and prefer solitude and smaller, deeper interactions, that's perfectly okay. At 70, I've learned that it's good to let go of things that no longer serve you. It's acceptable to prioritize yourself, maintain your peace, and live life on your own terms. In doing so, I discovered a type of freedom I had never known existed. The freedom to be completely and unashamedly myself. So if you find yourself withdrawing from people or preferring isolation more frequently, don't regard it as a loss. Instead, see it as an opportunity. It's a gift to be able to create a life that feels right for you, even if it differs from what others expect. Here's to this new chapter in my life, one of introspection, progress, and the confidence to be real. May everyone find the tranquility they deserve. Embracing this chapter. At age 70, I've realized that life is a succession of beginnings rather than endings. Each stage has its own lessons, problems, and beauty, and this one is no exception. This era of my life, with its calm simplicity and deeper meditation, feels like a culmination, a moment to accept who I've become while letting go of what no longer matters. When you're young, you're generally driven by a sense of urgency, a desire to accomplish more, achieve more, and become more. There is a restlessness that propels you ahead, inspired by the conviction that the future holds limitless possibilities. But as you get older, the restlessness decreases. You stop chasing what's out there and start appreciating what's already here. It's not about giving up, it's about altering your priorities. This chapter discusses simplicity. It's about enjoying the simple moments that frequently go unnoticed. The morning light streaming through the window, a grandchild's giggle, or the comforting warmth of a loved one's hug. These are the times that ground me and remind me of what actually matters. It is also about reflection. At 70, I look back on my life with appreciation rather than regret. Some accomplishments made me proud, blunders that taught me perseverance, and heartbreaks that impacted me in ways I didn't realize at the time. Every encounter, no matter how minor, has contributed to the fabric of my life. However, this chapter is about more than just looking back. It also looks forward. There is a quiet exhilaration in knowing that I still have time to create, learn, and grow. It's time to focus on what makes me happy. Whether it's tending to a garden, trying out a new pastime, or simply being still, One of the most lovely aspects of this chapter is the freedom it provides, the freedom to let go of expectations, both those imposed by others and those I have placed on myself. I no longer feel compelled to prove anything or reach some arbitrary criterion of accomplishment. Instead, I've accepted the idea that simply being is sufficient. This chapter has also taught me the value of saying no. No to duties that drain me, no to relationships that no longer serve me, and no to the stress of trying to be everything to everyone. In doing so, I've made room for the things that actually matter: peace, love, and community. Aging brings a certain level of courage, the willingness to live truthfully and unapologetically. I no longer worry about being judged for my decisions or misunderstood for my conduct. At 70, I've earned the right to prioritize my health, speak my mind, and live life on my terms. This chapter also discusses gratitude. I'm grateful for my life, the people I've loved, and the memories I've created. I am grateful for the strength that has carried me through difficult times and the joy that has lighted the good ones. And I'm grateful for the sheer fact that I am still alive, with more life to live and lessons to learn. So, what exactly does embracing this chapter mean? It entails accepting the past without clinging to it, welcoming the present with open arms, and looking to the future with optimism. It entails recognizing beauty in the daily, cherishing meaningful relationships, and letting go of anything that does not provide calm. It isn't always easy. There are times when I feel lonely, wonder what will happen next, and miss the people and places that formerly occupied my life. But even in those moments, there is a quiet strength, a reminder that I've come this far and that I have everything I need within me to continue. At 70, I've realized that life is about the quiet, meaningful moments that fill our days rather than the great milestones. This chapter, while different from the others, is equally significant. In many respects, it is the most genuine, honest, and serene period of my journey. Embracing this chapter does not imply accepting restrictions. It's about enjoying the possibilities, honoring the life I've led, and keeping open to what comes next. Most importantly, it is about living fully, deeply, and without apology, one day at a time. Final thoughts. At 70, life has taught me that it is not about how much you do or have, but about the quality of what you cherish, the moments, friendships, and inner serenity. I've discovered joy in simplicity, strength in solitude, and fulfillment by focusing on what truly matters. Avoiding people is not about bitterness, it is about preserving the peace I've worked so hard to achieve. If you're on a similar path, remember that it's all right to do what feels right for you. This chapter is ours to embrace in whatever way brings us the most satisfaction. Here's to living truthfully and enjoying every moment we're given. Take care and thank you for taking part in this experience. These lectures are intended to encourage you to live fully and truly. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take time to ponder and share one lesson you've learned that you want to utilize in your own life. Let us help one another on this path to accepting these facts. If you loved the video, please leave a comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more videos like this.